I'm going to be talking about the one question that is going to help you create an endless amount of content. What do you want to be known for? People want to go to you for ideas. You have a unique perspective in this particular area. How do I make a really good platform for myself on the internet? Welcome to the Media Books Podcast, the only place on the internet where creative accounting isn't a bad thing. Owning a virtual firm today means having a professional and modern online presence, and in this podcast, we talk about how to do just that. My name is Kristen Corey, and I'm the owner of Media Books, a media agency that provides creativity exclusively to accounting firms. And if you're an accounting firm owner, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Media Books Podcast. In this podcast episode, I am going to be talking about the one question that is going to help you create an endless amount of content. First, if you're watching this on YouTube, I think we're going to make this a series of guess which room in my parents' house I'm in, because it's going to change every single episode. As you probably know, I'm in the middle of an international move. I'm at my parents' house. We are making things work. Right now, I'm at a dining room table. And so if you have excuses for why you're not producing content, I'm going to tell you right now, you can even do it at grandma and grandpa's house or your kid's bedroom. And as long as the message is good, you're good. So I had to get that off my chest. But back to why you tuned in. The one question that is going to help you create endless content. When you first started posting on social media, you probably posted things like what you felt like was expected of you as an accountant or a bookkeeper. Maybe you posted what you saw other accountants posting. You thought, they had some good ideas and you tried to do your own take on it. Maybe you just posted whatever came to mind. And then as you advanced, maybe you developed some tools or strategies. You found some tips on the internet that helped you generate some content ideas. Maybe you focused on sales. And I really, in this episode, want to talk about one question that can help really create a focal point for all of your content, give you a unique voice, really help you hone in on your marketing strategy, and help you stand out. So for the headline of today, it is from Social Media Today, and it's TikTok shares insight into the rise of FinTalk. Basically, the whole article is talking about how on TikTok, there is a rise in financial information. And they have this crazy stat. According to TikTok, there's been an overall 373% rise in financial content in the app over the last year. I can't ignore this article and be like, oh, this doesn't exist when talking to the accounting industry. Should you be on TikTok? What is that audience like? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for your business? Especially when we're considering the fact that TikTok may not be here, January 1st, 2025. Here's the thing with TikTok. There's a lot of conversation going on around finance. There's a lot of horrible videos out there talking about tax advice and how to get around, this loophole or this rule or how to use this to your advantage. And I think there's lots of opportunities for you to create content and be part of the conversation. The question that I always have on my end is that where your audience is hanging out? If you've been listening to me for a while, you know that whenever you are trying to figure out what platform you should be on, I recommend considering two things. One, a platform that you're most comfortable with, and then two, where your audience is most likely going to hang out. And this isn't to say there aren't taxpayers on TikTok or business owners. There very likely are both. The question is, though, is there a way to be part of the conversation and build yourself as an authority figure on the platform? And with TikTok, my hesitation really with the app is, are you going to be attracting the audience that would buy your services? So while there may be a lot of college students who are trying to figure out ways to save or make more money, are those going to be the people that are going to be hiring you to do their tax returns? Are there a lot of business owners on there who are going to be going to you for bookkeeping help? And the answer very well may be yes. I'm not here to tell you the answer is yes or no. A lot of this, I frankly think, is going to be based on your industry. If you are trying to serve social media influencers, TikTok can definitely be an awesome platform. If you are trying to serve maybe more creative fields. So I always go to food trucks. Let's try to think of something a little bit more creative. Web designers or social media managers, a lot of those people are on Instagram. And so this isn't to say they're not on TikTok, but where is it most concentrated? When you consider the demographics of TikTok, typically a little bit younger. When you consider some of the people that are right now that are business owners, they're probably going to be a little bit older than the bulk of the TikTok demographics. And so really right now with the rise in finance conversations happening over on TikTok, it could be a really great opportunity. But this just really goes back to you really need to make sure you understand your audience, you understand who you're trying to work with. Because if you're just going to whatever is the most popular platform, you very well may be just talking to a bunch of college students. And that's not to say they don't need your services, but you want to make sure there's a good match. Are these college students still showing up on their parents' tax returns? If so, then, they may not be a good audience to have. That said, there's also a lot of, people in their late 20s. But again, are a lot of people in their late 20s owning businesses? If you sell fractional CFO services, maybe not. Maybe you want to look for a platform where there's a more concentrated demographic of 30 to 40-year-olds who are maybe opening their businesses and you want to be their fractional CFO. Those are kind of the questions that you need to ask. Age is definitely not the only demographic you should be considering, but it is one where you can kind of see that TikTok stands out a little bit more compared to social media platforms like LinkedIn or Facebook. So if you do have a generally younger audience, TikTok may be a great place. And right now they are having a lot of conversations about finance. You almost can't turn on any social media platform without people giving advice on how to cut expenses or save money. And if anyone should be part of the conversation, it should be you guys. Okay, so this is the one question I have that is going to help you create an endless amount of content. It is a question I ask all of my new marketing clients, and especially when people are just struggling to figure out what they want to talk about online. We'll sometimes we'll just follow other accountants and say, oh, they're talking about the importance of separating business versus personal finances. I should talk about that too. Or I'm going to go buy these templates and they'll give me guidance on what I should talk about. And it's not necessarily to say that you shouldn't talk about those things, but it doesn't really give you a chance to stand out. Have your own thoughts. Why would people specifically want to work with you over someone else? And so this kind of gives you a chance to tap into what it may look like to be an authoritative voice online and figure out what that really means for you. Now, creating content, you may have followed strategies in the past, like fill the feed, which is something I've talked about a lot. And it's more about the importance of just getting content out there, posting something. This is for people who are really struggling to figure out what voice they want to have on the internet, what they want to say. Fill the feed is a lot about, post what you can, but sometimes getting content out may just look like resharing an interesting article from QuickBooks or Gusto that you think your audience would find helpful. That is a strategy, and it's a great way to fill the feed and just get more content out when you're, in the thick of tax season. Maybe your strategy is just to post something and you don't really have a plan or idea of what you're going to post next week. It's just to get something out there on the internet. Maybe your strategy is just posting, what are people talking about? What topics are trending? In our headline, I just talked about TikTok and how FinTalk is a popular sort of topic that's going around right now. What performs well is another strategy. And this is something obviously that if you're in the marketing space is heavily encouraged. What sort of content is performing well? Definitely something that you should be considering. All these things are fairly good strategies that you may need to use from one time or another, depending on what sort of busy season you're in, depending on, your time and availability and where you're at in your business. Having said all that, this is one question that I really encourage you to consider when you're putting together your marketing strategy, when you're feeling more confident and you're wanting to figure out what should I post? How do I make a really good platform for myself on the internet? And that is, imagine you are being asked to speak at it's a question, but I got to set the scene. So work with me. Imagine you are being asked to speak at a conference in, let's say, 5 to 10 years. What do you want the people setting up this conference to ask you to speak on? What do you want to be known for? If you're being asked to speak at a conference, that means you don't just know the subject, you are an authoritative voice on the subject. People want to go to you for ideas. You have a unique perspective in this particular area. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you have anything revolutionary to say every time the subject comes up, but maybe you just explain things surrounding a complicated subject very well. Consider the organization of a public accounting firm, how it's set up. Typically, every partner, they're not just a partner, they have something that they're known for. They have a series of duties and responsibilities and things that they oversee. In my auditing days, we had a partner that was in charge of the nonprofits. We had one partner that was in charge of, government entities. We had one that was more of the managerial partner. Their positions did not happen overnight. They had to start laying the groundwork very early in their career to lead them up to be an authority figure in that particular space. Now, this does not mean niching down, which I know this is a very scary subject for a lot of you. You very much don't want to niche, and that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about necessarily being yourself and adding personality to your brand. I'm not talking about being controversial or saying things that are against the status quo or what everyone's talking about. What it does mean is that you are the go-to person for conversations about QuickBooks payroll. It could be a niche, but it's not necessarily a niche. You can be yourself and you can easily, have a mask on talking about this. And QuickBooks payroll, within the accounting industry, we can maybe argue that it's somewhat controversial, whether it's good or not, or whether we like QuickBooks or not. But you get where I'm going. We're talking about an app, a very specific part of an app. Maybe you want to talk or be known for Shopify bookkeeping. You love working with e-commerce. You feel like it's a very comfortable space for you. And on top of that, you love the app Shopify. You've seen what it can do for businesses. You have troubleshooted every single possible issue with Shopify bookkeeping. And it's something that you feel so confident in helping your clients with. You can also help other bookkeepers handle this. Maybe it looks like AI. AI is a super popular topic right now. There's actually a lot of accountants out there who already have found themselves sort of niching in AI. And, kind of the idea is that it's going to be a big enough space where, we don't need just one person being the go-to for AI. There's a lot of people that are sort of finding themselves being authority figures in the AI space. So let me first give you some examples of what an authoritative voice could look like, specifically within the accounting field. Now, a lot of these people have very strong presences on different platforms, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or podcasts, but you may know some of these. So for example, Sean Smith is really known for crypto. He does a lot of interviews and podcasts and different stuff on that. He is an awesome follow. There's also Megan Lefchick. She is known for her mentorship to CPA candidates. She does a lot of great content both on Instagram and LinkedIn. It seems like the CPA exam is always changing, and she always has a very calming presence of it is okay, you can still pass this. And once or twice she has made me rethink maybe I should go back, but I'm doing marketing now. I am very much in the appropriate lane. And then there's people like Blake Oliver, David Leary. They always know the trending topics. If you listen to the accounting podcast, they do a fabulous job of taking the news and sort of coming at it from an accountant's perspective. So I really like, kind of following them. It's a way for me to get my current events news, but also kind of have a foot in the accounting space and understand what's going on and important to you guys. There's Jason Statz. He does a lot of content around AI. He has a great YouTube series where he does videos every day. They are hilarious, super high quality. He is an awesome person to follow. And then there's Charles Lukoff, who shows you how easy it is to become a fractional CFO. He is super active on Instagram. And all these people are sort of go-to people for different spaces within the accounting field. And as I was looking through the people I followed on social media, these people, their voices stood out. And I didn't necessarily need to go to their bio or website to see, what is this person known for? I've been following a lot of these people for a while. And if I were putting together an event, this is probably what I would ask them to talk about because they talk about it so much. They put out so much content on these subjects and it never really grows stale. They always have something really insightful to say. And even if they're just reiterating information, for example, Megan Lefchick, I mean, a lot of times she's just breaking down updates to the CPA exam, but she's making it in a way that is digestible for all of us. So maybe that is how you find your voice as an authoritative figure online. You just figure out a complicated corner of the accounting or bookkeeping industry, and you find a way to make it more digestible to your audience. And the next question that you may have is, how do you find this thing for yourself? While this is not niching, the process is going to be similar to niching. You need to first be obsessed with the subject. You're going to be spending a lot of time talking about it, so you need to like it. You need to be willing to listen and research other podcasts, videos, articles, everything, all information out there. You need to sort of get your hands dirty. You need to also try to be more specific than something like, I want to be an expert in bookkeeping, or I want to be an expert in tax. The problem with these sort of subjects is that they're too general. And, within those fields, how do you want to contribute to the conversation? Bookkeeping is such a wide-ranging topic, as is tax. Is there a specific bookkeeping app that you really like and you feel like you can be an authoritative voice on? Is there tax tech that, Tax Jar or Tax Dome, something that you feel like you can really understand inside and out, front end, back end, everything that's going on about it? What could you really talk about? Is it something more widespread, like challenges bookkeeping firms are facing? Some of the examples that I gave, they weren't specific apps that people were known for. They were sometimes subjects. I mean, David Leary and Blake Oliver, they talk about kind of a lot of current events. They talk about tech and apps too, but it's a more general idea of, what's going on in the world. Just to get your feet wet, try to focus on creating content at least one time per week, focusing on that specific subject, just to get yourself started, to get some momentum going. Make sure you can also find a way to maybe integrate it into your services. So if it is an app, probably an app you should really use with your clients. And maybe you don't have to use it with your clients, but maybe you know how to encourage or migrate clients over from a competitor or how to set them up with that. It's something that you should really have a strong service built around. And then when presented with the opportunities to talk, try to figure out a way to either talk about that subject or brush alongside it as you talk about it. For example, at MediaBooks, we focus heavily on website design. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not also qualified to speak on other subjects like email campaigns and Flowdesk. I'm a huge fan of Flowdesk, and a lot of the work that you do in Flowdesk integrates to your website. And so I can talk about email campaigns and workflows and forms and automation on your website. And so it's kind of a subjects that go hand in hand. So whenever you're doing these talks, try to focus on that subject. If not, try to focus on a subject that does go hand in hand with that topic. Like so many remote workers, I am picky when it comes to my tech. I want a simple user interface, something that integrates with all the apps I'm already using, and I don't want to be nickel and dimed for every feature. I have run campaigns for plenty of accounting firms and used nearly every app under the sun, but for the past 4 years, I have been using Flowdesk at MediaBooks. Flowdesk offers a minimalistic user interface that does not cut back on any features. With workflows, automations, email campaigns, and advanced analytics, all for one price, I have no plans on switching anytime soon. And if you want to check out Flowdesk, you can get 50% off for your first year by simply clicking the link in the show notes. And I want to leave you with one last thing. A lot of marketers and marketing and kind of the spiel that we have focuses on things like getting new clients or getting better clients, working less but making more money. And I personally really abide by the idea of building a business that you genuinely enjoy with the right number of clients that you like, with a work versus income that doesn't burn you out or leave you feeling resentful. The thing is, marketing is really, a lot of it is about building a voice and creating content. And that's an essential part of running your business. And really, this is just one way to make that specific piece of running your business more enjoyable. When it comes to designing websites, the service page always takes much more time than anticipated. It can sometimes be hard to verbalize everything you do, so I always recommend simplifying, which is what I'm going to do right now with MediaBooks. Here at MediaBooks, we offer 3 services for every stage of your business. We offer web design for when you are just getting your marketing strategy up and running, or you need a website refresh. We offer website audit services for those DIYers, and we also have advisory services for those who love their website and are ready to advance their marketing skills. Get started with MediaBooks by visiting MediaBooksAgency.com. MediaBooks, the only place on the internet where creative accounting isn't a bad thing.